Welcome back to Reading with Miss Michelle. Today we're going to read Wayside School is Falling Down by Louis Sachar, Chapter 17. If you have a copy, go get it so you can read along with me. Don't forget to help us out by liking, subscribing, and sharing this video with all of your friends. Chapter 17. What? It was purple, so Jenny read the story backward. When she finished, she threw up. Okay, said Jenny. So read the story backward, suggested Mrs. Jewell. That way, the beginning will be a surprise. But I already know how the story ends, Jenny complained. I only like stories with surprise endings. Good point, said Mrs. Jewell. Here, you can read the story yourself. It's very funny. She gave the book to Jenny. All I heard was the last sentence, said Jenny. It isn't funny unless you know what happened first. Why aren't you laughing, Jenny? Asked Mrs. Jewell. Didn't you think it was a funny story? That made Dana laugh harder. There goes the giggle box, said Myron. Everybody laughed, except for Jenny. Dana laughed hysterically. Mrs. Jewell looked back at the story she had been reading before Jenny's interruption. There was only one sentence left for her to read. She read it to the class. Jenny made a face. She could still taste the awful stuff. And next time you'll drink your prune juice more quickly, said Mrs. Jewell. Jenny sat down. Mrs. Jewell waited for Jenny to sit down. Jenny wrote her name on the blackboard under the word discipline. Well, that's no excuse, said Mrs. Jewell. Now go write your name on the blackboard under the word discipline. I couldn't leave the table until I finished it, explained Jenny, and then I missed the bus. What does prune juice have to do with anything? Asked Mrs. Jewell. Because I hate prune juice, Jenny griped. Why are you late? Asked Mrs. Jewell. I can't hear you, said Jenny. I better take off my helmet. She took off her helmet. Take off your helmet, said Mrs. Jewell. What? Asked Jenny. Why are you late? Asked Mrs. Jewell. Jenny caught her breath. What? She asked. She couldn't hear too well because she was still wearing the motorcycle helmet. Mrs. Jewell looked up from the story she had been reading to the class. You're late, she said. She hopped off the bike in front of Wayside School and charged up the stairs. Her stomach was still going up and down as she opened the door to Mrs. Jewell's room. She put on her helmet. Then her father drove her to school on the back of his motorcycle. It was a very bumpy ride. Put on your helmet, said her father. I'll drive you to school on the back of my motorcycle. I missed the bus, Jenny grumbled. What are you doing home? Asked her mother. She finally got it all down, then hurried as fast as she could to the bus stop. When she got there, the bus was just pulling away. She sighed, then turned around and ran all the way back home. Her mother wouldn't let her leave the breakfast table until she finished her prune juice. It took her forever. She hated prune juice more than anything in the world. One day, Jenny was late for school. The end. Thanks for joining me for Chapter 17. Please check back for Chapter 18. Don't forget to help us out by liking, subscribing, and sharing this video with all of your friends. I hope you join me next time. Bye.